Hello class. In chem class this morning, we were working on an equilibrium problem and we were required to solve the quadratic that you see in front of you. And a lot of you had difficulty solving this quadratic equation either because you haven't been familiarized with how to do it or probably because you've forgotten how to solve quadratic equations. So in this short video tutorial, I'm going to go through step by step how to solve this quadratic equation. Remember that anytime we solve a quadratic equation, we must provide the equation in the quadratic form. And what I mean by quadratic form is all the terms in the equation that you see in front of you have to be collected and grouped together so that they meet the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Once you have the equation in this form, you can then use your calculator and the calculator's quadratic functionality and solve for the two values of x. Remember, there are two solutions to x, and each of these solutions must be considered as we did in class and tested to complete our equilibrium problem. So in this tutorial, I am going to help you convert the equation that you see in front of you, this equation right here, into this form, the standard quadratic form, which is this form right here. And then I will leave it up to you to use your calculators and solve for the two values of x. So let's go ahead and solve the equation that you see in black script on your screen. Now, to make my life easier, I'm going to put the number 1 underneath the number 0.333. And remember, any number is the same as that number expressed as a fraction if you put it over 1. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to expand the denominator in the equation in front of you. So I'm going to expand this term and I'm going to leave everything else as is. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to write 0.333 over 1 equals 1.00 plus x. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the 9 and the 5. And that gives me 45.0. Then I'm going to multiply the 9 with the minus x, followed by the minus x with the 5. And what I will get is minus 9x minus 5x. And then finally, I'm going to multiply that minus x, and that is going to give me plus x squared. Now at this stage, I am going to collect all my like terms in my denominator. So I'm going to write 0.333 over 1 equals 1.00 plus x, and the denominator will now become 45.0, and these two like terms add to give, let's say 9, 10, 11 to the 14. So minus 14.0x plus x squared. At this stage, I am simply going to cross multiply my equation. And what I mean by that is I'm going to multiply this numerator with this denominator and this numerator with that denominator. So let's start by cross multiplying this numerator with that denominator. And make sure that when you cross multiply, you remember that this number needs to be cross multiplied with each of these three terms. And I've already seen a little mistake. That should be an x squared. So once that I fix that mistake, I can move on. So let's continue. So 0.333 times 45 gives me 14.985. 0.333 minus 14.0x gives me minus 4.662x. And the final term is plus 0.333x squared equals. And on the right hand side of that equal sign, I'm going to have the product of the cross multiplication of this numerator and this denominator, and that's simple. And that is simply 1.00 plus x. And now what I need to do is I need to collect all my like terms and put this quadratic equation into standard form. Now let's go back and remember the standard form. So this is the standard form of the equation. So all my x squared terms have to be collected, all my x terms have to be collected, all my other terms which have no association with x squareds or x's have to be collected so that the left-hand side of the equation equals 0. So let's see if we can sort this out. So my first term is my x squared term. And here is my x squared term. So I'm going to write 0.333x squared. Now, the next set of terms that I have to collect are my x terms. So here is one x term that I have, which is minus 4.662, and the other x term that I have is this one here. Now this is on the other side of this equal sign. So I have to bring it over, and when I bring it over, I need to remember to change the sign. So I'm going to write minus 4.662x minus x, and then I'm going to write plus 14.985, and then bring this one over the equal sign. And don't forget to change the sign. And that is going to be minus 1 is equal to 0. And finally, I simply collect my like terms. So I'm going to write 0.333 x squared minus 5.662x. And how did I get minus 5.662? Minus 4.662, add it to minus x. And finally, I'm going to take 14.985 and subtract 1 from it, and I will get 13.985 is equal to 0. And as you can see, this equation is written in the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Now, if you're using the calculator function, the calculator is going to ask you for an a value, a b value, and a c value. The a value is 0.333. So you are going to enter 0.333 into your calculator. The b value is minus 5.662. So you will enter minus 5.662. And the c value is positive 13.985. So you will simply enter 13.985. And once you enter these values into your calculator will display two values of x. x1 will be 14.0 and x2 will be 3.0. And in class, these are the two values that we used to test our equilibrium concentrations. Remember, even though you will get two solutions to the quadratic, you have to test both of them. One of them will be likely rejected, which is 14 in this case. Please refer to your notes so that you know why we rejected 14 in terms of the equilibrium problem that we were solving. And we actually accepted the value of x is equal to 3. And we finished our question in class. I hope this helps. Take care.